Hello and welcome to Who Are You? This is the Babylon 5 Watchcast, hosted by two former strangers, now friends, who've gotten to know each other while we're watching a favorite show from their childhood, Babylon 5. I'm Xhafer.
And I'm Laura.
And today we're joined by our friend...
Oh, who, me? Oh, yeah, Victor. Hey, I'm Victor from the Mini Media Television, and last time on. It's
Hey,
great to be
Vic.
back.
So nice to have you back.
Thanks. Missed you guys.
I get to record with you weekly, but yes.
Yeah, well, I miss Laura.
Always a pleasure.
Xhafer,
Yeah.
I've seen your face way too much.
Yeah.
So.
Understood. Ben said literally the same thing at dinner yesterday.
Oh, no.
At dinner, so he's choosing to be with your face.
Yes.
Nice.
While commenting about how much he'd rather. It's fine. We make
Xhafer,
jokes.
I noticed
Yeah.
you put a very cheeky title on the name of this recording session.
That's a
Do you
good
wanna
one.
Share that?
I did. So for the unaware, we use a online recording solution for this. We don't just do Zoom or anything. So that when you pull up in the recording studio, there's usually a name of an episode waiting. It's normally the name of the episode, but today it is Each Night I Dream of a Better Show.
It was there. It was right there.
It was
Yeah,
right there.
It
was
is really good. Yeah.
the lowest hanging fruit.
Still
and
tasty.
Also, my feelings about this episode. So
We have to ask Victor a question, don't we? We haven't
Oh, shit.
had you on for a Crusade yet, right?
Uh-oh.
no, he was on for Call to Arms. He hasn't been
Yep.
on for
This
Crusade.
is my first Crusade episode. Oh, and my last.
Well, that's not your fault. We're running out of
Yeah.
runway.
So we were always asking, who are you? We were asking, what do you want?
Mhm.
And now we're asking, who do you trust?
Oh, shit. You're asking me that. Don't ask me that one. Ask me the other one. I was prepared for the other question.
Whom do you serve?
No, not that one. The other one.
What's
Where I was prepared for where are you going?
where are you going? That's
All
the
right.
question we're asking our co-hosts.
Yeah. Those other two are a little deep.
A little heavy. That's fair.
Where am I going? I'm going to patreon.com. I meant to have this set up by the time we recorded, but I still haven't done it due to procrastination. But we have several episodes already recorded of the new podcast that I'm going to be hosting, titled Attention Bajoran Workers. And for those of you listeners out there who feel the heartbreak that the bittersweetness that I feel about Who Are You going beyond the rim and completing the watchcast of every single episode of Babylon 5, you guys did an amazing job. And that is quite as accomplishment. I was telling Xhafer in the pre-show, there are a lot of watchcasts out there, and 90% of them don't make it past the first, 10 or 12 episodes.
Yeah, I could see that.
And you guys, that is an accomplishment to be proud of, completing the entire series. That's awesome. And for those of you out there who are big fans like me of Who Are You, not to despair, I have started a new podcast called Attention Bajoran Workers, where we are going to be covering the dollar store ripoff version of Babylon 5, known as Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Working 9 to 5.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
Up yours.
Com never got me a damn thing.
Don't turn your back on me. Don't you even try to walk away from me. Just who the hell do you think you are?
If you have something to say to me, say it.
Now get the hell out of our galaxy.
9 to 5.
That's enough!
So,
Ooh, you've already probably inflamed some listeners.
oh,
there. Perfect.
we are going to be inflaming so many listeners on our show.
We need to make sure that we send you the high-res copy of the 9 to 5 drop. So that way when you bring up Babylon
right.
5 on your show, you can use that there as well.
Yeah,
I've had so much
feel
fun
free.
making drops for the show. We're going to have a regular segment where we play a game, and I've put together for all the 90s kids out there who remember a great little show called Reboot. The drop is, warning, incoming game. That should unlock some core memories for a lot of you out there.
Cute.
But yeah, we have, hopefully by the time this episode airs, I'll have the Patreon up so we can stick a link in the show notes. The show is going to be free, of course, but if you're a Patreon subscriber, we're going to have ad-free versions. Yeah, it's crazy. We already have sponsors. It's batshit crazy.
Awesome.
There are just some
Look at
local
you.
shops that are like friends of friends and stuff from my
We're taking
co-host
it
cast.
so much more seriously than we take this.
But if you're a Patreon subscriber, you'll get the ad-free version as well as access to bonus episodes where we cover other Star Trek Deep Space Nine adjacent media, such as like some TNG episodes that have Cardassians and Bajorans, Star Trek First Contact, and we're going to do movie breaks like you guys did for Babylon 5 as well. So we're looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Oh, and also another separate project that I'm going to be doing. You'll miss it by the time this airs, but we're going to be doing a monthly MST3K style live roasting of all the Star Trek movies in order, and it's going to be hosted by myself and Tiger Mike from Tiger Media Productions. He's an awesome guy. He's got a really great. He's like, hey, Tiger Mike. Yeah, that's exactly how he talks. He's
one of those.
He sounds
voices.
like a morning radio shock jock. He's pretty awesome. We did a test run last month with Maximum Overdrive, the old Stephen King movie, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So that was pretty good. We had fun riffing on that. So yeah, we're looking to make that a monthly thing. We're going to do all the Star Trek movies in order. And we're doing this Sunday, we're doing our Labor Day special. That's going to be Star Trek The Motion Picture, where we roast it. And it's very roastable.
Yes. So, like, that movie is one where I usually get a really nice nap at some point.
That's if any of our listeners out there suffer from insomnia, just put on Star Trek The Motion Picture. It helps. I swear half that movie is like a screensaver.
It feels that way sometimes.
And it does have good music.
Yeah.
Like, the music is very good, and that sometimes classical music that is very good will put you to sleep. So.
Well, if someone falls asleep during a comedy routine that I'm going to be hosting on Sunday, then I'll tell myself that. So
No. It's Star Trek's fault. I promise.
100%. It's the motion picture's fault. If someone falls asleep during Wrath of Khan, that's on you. But this one, you get a pass for sure.
I'm glad that all of our listeners will be able to catch Wrath of Khan then, because that will be a lot of fun.
And I'm sure you're going to post about it in the Attention Bajoran Workers Discord, which is the What Happened Her podcast family Discord. So if you're already there, you've already seen the posts about this, and you already had your chance. And if you're not, you'll see it for next month. And then also when Attention Bajoran Workers drops, it will be part of our normal social media cascade. So if you follow Dominion Media and Television, you'll see it. If you follow any of the podcast network, Twitter, Blue Sky feeds, you'll see it all there. And then on the Discord, there'll be some posts too. It's real exciting. I'm super stoked for Attention Bajoran Workers. What I'm not super stoked for.
Fair stop.
Is this episode of Babylon 5 Crusade. It's episode 13. It is the series finale, but we have another 5 episodes of Crusade coverage after this because of this watch order. Each night, I dream of home.
Xhafer,
Laura.
I am super stoked.
Yeah.
Because this is the end of Lockley Watch 2024.
It is. We finally have seen Lockley. She's been in the opening credits every fucking episode.
I was going to ask, because I've been trying to watch this in the watch order, and I'm sorry, guys. I've been trying to pay attention, but I've been trying to rewatch this in the watch order, but my God, it's difficult. Just like I've got ADHD really bad, and I've started and restarted the pilot several times. And I got to say, the pilot is actually not bad. Like, as far as like the story goes and the writing, all the elements are there to make it a really good sci-fi story. You know, with the rescue mission and the Drock ship and the archaeological team, all that shit, and even with the mobile infantry being there, it was still really good. I don't know what it is. Just something about it makes it falls apart
pretty quick.
Which I don't understand. And I'm sure you guys have covered this on the show before, but you know, we get to have my hot take now since my my first time.
That's why we're here.
Hot Crusade take. I don't understand why the show failed so much. It just didn't come together because it's coming off the heels of Babylon 5, a very successful show. So I just don't understand how this happens. Like, you already know how to make us a good show. Why can't you just do it again? Like, what?
It feels like somebody gave
Yeah.
up. And I don't want to pin that all on JMS, but like
I mean, the music guy.
it feels like he gave up.
I know you guys have talked.
Yeah.
ad
I'm willing to blame
nauseam
it
about the music.
entirely on the shitty theme song.
Mm.
A shitty theme song can destroy a show, yeah.
The music is so out of sync for what we were getting from sci-fi shows at this time and what we were trained to expect and love, and it just clangs so
I feel
hard.
like
Not just the theme, just like throughout the episodes even.
I feel like they were trying to. This was in the late '90s. They were trying to get out ahead of what the next big music thing was going to be,
Mhm.
and they just got it wrong. You know, like
Yeah.
they thought
Yeah.
weird ambient techno crap is going to be the next thing. You know, like we're talking about on LTO with Briscoe is like the coming
Yeah.
thing, and they got it wrong. You know, and you
Yeah.
guys, you're going to be covering Battlestar Galactica after this, so
Yes.
That's what I
yeah,
hear.
the
Yeah.
same thing happened with Battlestar Galactica. They had the spin-off show Caprica afterwards, and it also failed after one season.
Yeah.
Uh,
That at least made it 20 some episodes.
yeah. I mean, it was not bad. It just wasn't the same quality as, you know, the fans were used to. So,
Caprica was also a very different show.
yeah.
Like, it was not nearly as hard sci-fi. I mean, there's space travel, but it doesn't really have a whole lot of it, if memory serves.
Mhm.
And it's very much like building up to tenuous events. Caprica feels a lot more like a show, like a Succession or a like kind of maybe a modern political, like slight thriller kind of drama compared to like the hard sci-fi,
Yeah.
very action-oriented tenseness of Battlestar Galactica.
When you guys get to it, you'll get the feeling that this is a show that doesn't know what it wants to be,
yeah,
and it's just trying to do everything, and none of it sticks. So,
I haven't watched Caprica since it aired, much like Crusade.
yeah.
So I'm excited for that too. But that's a ways
That is a
off.
ways away.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that in
We
a
got a
couple
ways to
years.
go.
So
No, we got to get through these last 6 episodes of Crusade
We
first.
really
I
do.
guess 6. I don't know what it is.
yeah, this was directed by Stephen First. I don't know if you guys caught
Oh
that.
wow,
Yeah,
That's
I did.
impressive.
Mhm.
this episode was actually pretty good. And
I thought
and
so
by the
too.
way, if there happen to be any Amazon Video employees out there who work at Amazon Studios, I want to say I bought this entire season off of Amazon Prime Video, and it still hasn't been fixed. I don't understand it. The audio is desynced. I don't know if it's just a Roku thing or what. If any of the listeners out there, please chime in on this. Do you have the same problem watching it on Amazon? Because the longer the episode goes on, the more the audio gets desynced. So by the end of every
That's
single episode,
horrible.
like their mouths are moving and the audio is just off. It's jarring, and it's hard enough for me to pay attention to this show. So so the version that I am watching, that I got from an anonymous source digitally, it's been AI upscaled. I'm assuming it is because it looks really weird. It's got the HD upscaling, and it looks like. Have you guys ever seen that old Keanu Reeves movie, A Scanner Darkly?
Oh,
It,
yes. Mhm.
it almost looks like that. The faces look cartoony and strange with the HD
Yeah.
upscale. And I also think the AI that they used, I think it tries to smooth out Darina's alien face
Oh,
ridges,
no.
so it doesn't know what to do with those, so it tries to make her look more human, which is just even weirder. So
Oh,
Yeah.
oof.
it's been an interesting experience. It's been crusade.
Crusade. We're on a crusade to finish Crusade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Not a whole lot left. We open on the Excalibur, waiting for some unknown guests, when one of the new Warlock class destroyers jumps in, sends over a shuttle, and it's one of our 12 senators who happen to be off the surface of the planet when the Drock plague dropped. So these guys are like de facto running the government outside of the planet now.
I guess so. And he must have been like on the Mars colony New Dallas or something, because he has a thick Texas accent.
This guy's such a
Yeah.
douchebag.
I refer to him as Senator Pisspants in my notes. I didn't bother writing down his name.
Hey, I got a new one for you,
Oh, let's
Xhafer.
hear it.
Do you know where this actor is from? Where you should know this actor from?
Is it Airwolf?
It sure fucking is.
He looks like he belongs in Airwolf. That does not. It's not surprising at all.
He's the theme song narrator, like the opening theme narrator.
Really?
I shit you
Wow.
not. And then he apparently plays a bunch of bit characters, and we may not encounter him over on Cool Girls in our formula. But yes, we have Airwolf ties.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic.
Speaking of theme songs, this is completely opposite of Crusade. Fucking Airwolf nailed it with its theme songs.
Right?
It is, in fact, a bop.
Is a yeah.
Yep. The senator orders them. They've got orders from the Joint Chiefs. They're heading to Earth. No stopping allowed.
Mm-hmm. With a random guy.
With a random guy.
David.
Rando.
He's a plumber, we find out later. But we finally get Lockley. She is adrift with no response as we go to our terrible, terrible theme music. When we come back from that, we see Lockley still adrift, bleeding. She is in a bad place.
Yeah, the HD
Yeah.
upscaling on this version that I'm watching, it made it look like there's a spider web on her cracked helmet and ketchup on her face. Like just it's pretty terrible.
So she's got this giant crack in her helmet,
Yeah.
and then she's bleeding from the other side.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Also, did the Star Fury seem more spacious than they did in
It
Babylon
does.
5?
Yeah. Now
There
that you
was
mention
so
it.
much space around her. I was like, how did we hit our head even?
So I think this is a camera trick because
uh-huh.
normally when we've got a Star Fury pilot, we only get the front on view, and
Mhm.
sometimes it's through the cockpit in front of it, sometimes it's not. And here we're getting side views. So I think that's what makes this feel like there's so much more space in there. It's just the camera angles.
Yeah, it's weird that they chose to do that because
Agreed.
it's something that you notice when you've had these small Star Fury views before.
It should feel claustrophobic.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
almost like Stephen
yeah.
First didn't watch the show and was too busy being in it. And I think if Veer had one scene in a Star Fury, this would have been different.
Mhm.
Yeah, you might be right. Yeah. It was at this point, right after the theme, that my son walked in and said, "If this is what quality TV looked like back in the day, I feel bad for
Oh
you."
my god! The shade.
The shade. And I said, "Don't worry, son. This wasn't quality TV."
Oh, that's adorable. Oh,
We're gonna watch Lost now.
Lori, your kid is destined for greatness.
Man, he's so shady, guys.
Got to get him on a podcast.
Gonna do things.
Yeah.
Right.
He should be making fun of the motion picture.
You should.
So we had a little bit where we learned that this senator was one of the ones who voted against funding the Excalibur.
Mhm.
That's fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course Gideon would know
Yeah.
that. Of course.
Mm-hmm. I mean, once you've got a senator on board, I think you're obligated to check if they voted for you to have a job or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, assuming that he wasn't Gideon's representative. I'm not quite sure how it works. I think it's countries elect senators. So if this guy is American and Gideon is American, those are both assumptions, then I guess that makes sense. This might be one of his senators. David, the senator's civilian escort, goes to meet up with Dr. Chambers about something that is shady as fuck as Matheson looks him up on Facebook.
Yeah, he has a really coy conversation with Daniel Day Kim
Mm-hmm.
about how, like, you shouldn't look up his personal details. That would be a violation of blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, this was in 1999. This was before Google became really big because he's essentially asking, Matheson is Daniel Day Kim's character,
Mhm.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
he's
Yes.
essentially just asking him to Google him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't reveal
Right.
any super personal information, just his name, date of birth, occupation. So I don't know. Maybe this was a big deal
Like,
at
look
the
him
time.
up in the phone book.
Yeah.
I guess this was a big deal at the time. This was before social media, when everyone just threw their personal details out there for the whole world to see. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They catch Lockley's distress call, And when Gideon says to hit the brakes, Senator Pisspants says no. Gideon decides to scoop up the Star Fury as to not technically stop and hence violate orders.
Yeah, not technically stop. He just drops out of faster than light speed,
And we hit why this show failed, in my opinion.
I had thoughts about this too. Let me hear yours first.
We have the blue force fields of, and I'm going to directly quote my notes here. How are these this bad when Deep Space Nine has been off the air for 2 years at this point?
Are you
That
talking
is
about the
what-
special effects, or
Yeah. The blue catch you the ship force fields.
Those
that,
were
like,
pretty
stretch
bad.
a little bit and break.
yeah?
Fucking
Mhm.
for reference, Star Trek Voyager Equinox Part 2, the season 6 premiere, aired 2 weeks after this episode.
Mhm. Yeah.
How are these special effects that bad compared to what Voyager, has?
yeah.
Yeah, that is a great question. I have a different beef with this thing.
Want to hear it?
My beef is dialogue, right? So
yeah.
Gideon techno babbles his way through, we're doing this, and it's related to the gravitatic engines
Sure.
that have never been mentioned before. And we, previously had known Babylon 5 human ships having like rotating sections and stuff. I know that this ship is supposed to be like combined technology. I needed like a tiny bit of dialogue from Gideon or Matheson to telling me like, oh, well, this was part of the Minbari technology we absorbed or the Vorlon technology we absorbed. Like something to explain it more than just like the techno
I said
babble.
a word that starts with grav, so you know,
Mhm.
gravity.
Yeah. It just seemed lazy.
Yeah, it's the grav quantums, the quantum
That's-
gravs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that's my biggest gripe with Crusade, is it just seems lazy most of the
Yeah.
time.
They just kind of threw it together.
Yeah.
And while we're at it, speaking of gripes, the design of the interior of the ship just makes no sense at all. Like, I love the Excalibur. It's one of my favorite ships in sci-fi ever. I don't love the interior. It's bad. Like,
it's
the
all
fighter-
basketball courts.
The basketball
What's the
courts,
fucking
yeah,
point?
and the fighter bays make no fucking sense. Like, each fighter has its own little apartment, and if you look at where they're docked, it's just this empty garage door with no doors, it's just an empty spot. Like, it would make sense if that's where they would go for maintenance, but in a spaceship, space is at a premium. So, and they got this big, massive box that does nothing. It has no doors. How did the fighter get in there in the first place? Yeah.
Well, they don't even leave the ship through there. They leave the ship on the Pez dispenser thing.
Right.
that
Now, the
drop out
Pez
from
dispenser's
wings.
badass. I love that thing. That's cool.
Right?
But yeah, it makes no sense. How did it? They got to get a tow truck in there to take it to the Pez dispenser or something. Like, still makes no sense how the fighters got there.
Yeah.
Anyways, David asked to get infected with the Drock plague.
Part of my main beef with the whole Drock plague had been that we don't have any of the pandemic weirdos that we found out exist, in the last 5 years-ish. And we finally found the pandemic weirdo, guys. We got the guy who wants it. Bring it on.
That would have made for a really cool episode. Have a plot about some factions on Earth who think it's all bullshit. They don't believe it or they think it's a conspiracy, and they're all trying to break the quarantine. That would make for a great episode. Have a bunch of civilians on Earth, or maybe even have some important politicians, whatever, who are just trying to get off of Earth, and have like a showdown with the Excalibur and some fighters trying to tell them to turn back. We don't want to fire on you. And that would be good. That's a good episode right there. What the hell?
Yeah. And and as we have found out, actually realistic.
Yeah. I honestly would. I mean, this show did not make it this far, but we know that that Gideon had promised that he would spend the last of the 5 years of Earth dying stopping anyone from leaving. I want that show.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to have this 4-year journey to fail, and then I want a season of them outside Earth defending it, and then you can have Franklin save the day at the end or whatever. Like you can
Sure.
you can
It
do
would be
the
cool
thing.
to have it like a really dark period, because we know because of Babylon 5 humanity survives somehow.
Yeah.
But we don't know how they survive. So maybe it could be that all humans on Earth were wiped out, and the only thing left were just the humans out
on Mars,
or
and stuff,
other colonies or whatever, and then they have to come back to Earth, clean it all up, and repopulate. That would be pretty wild.
Yeah.
Great possibilities, but oh well.
Anyways, Gideon goes to go chat with his other captain friend. Luckily, they says hi again. So
Yeah.
they've met. I don't know if that's because the episode order. They don't seem particularly friendly here. I hear that the interactions between these two characters make the most sense in this order, apparently.
Really?
Yeah.
So have in the order
Okay,
you
the
guys are watching,
most.
have they been to Babylon 5 yet?
No.
So they haven't. Okay, so they haven't
Mm-mm.
seen Babylon 5 at all.
They're
yet,
there at
so,
the end
They
of
have
this
not met
episode,
Lockwood.
and they're like, "Oh, we'll stop by next time," just like Legend of the fucking Rangers.
Okay.
We'll see.
So this is strange because these
Yeah.
two, they have a love story. They end up banging, Gideon and.
What?
Oh,
What?
shit.
I'm not
You
into that.
Oh, you don't. I'm sorry. Did I just?
Okay, so
They allude to
I-
it being a date a couple of times in here, but yeah. It's all
Oh.
stuff Gideon says
Oh.
at Lockley, though.
yes, she's not really reciprocating until at the very end. She's like, "Oh yeah, come stop by," and I'm
Well,
like,
okay. So this makes no sense
what?
either way. Even if you watch it now, it says hey, hello again, like they've already met. But if you watch this in the air order, the two of them have been hooking up at this point by this scene. So this, how does it not make sense either way? It makes no sense. Oh well. Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't realize he said hello again.
Mhm.
I thought he just like dropped hitting on her totally out of nowhere. But I guess if he's spoken to her before, oh, okay,
I mean, every
But,
captain in
yeah, I
Star
was
Trek
like,
knows each
"Ugh."
other somehow.
Yeah.
that's true.
So I imagine
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same with Earth Force, especially with the Civil War and stuff. You probably would know the other cap. I mean, you'd know most of them. There's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
ton. There's not a ton of Earth Force ships. You know?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I guess, especially now.
Yeah. So
But she's so out of his league. She's so out of his league, guys.
she's so out of his league, and she's also so out of like being healthy. It's weird because it's just all like, oh hey, I know that you're waking up from being unconscious for several days, but let me throw down some game real quick.
Yes, not the time.
Not the
Not the
time.
time. Didn't like it. Made me feel icky.
Yeah. When she's like up and moving around and has helped save the day, I guess a little bit more appropriate at that point. But
Mhm.
this,
Yeah.
Now you've had some trauma bonding,
Yeah.
so it's fine.
you're clearly in a
Yeah.
fully conscious state.
See, no, I don't remember the whole story. I just know the two of them get together. Maybe they broke up or had a break by the time this aired. I don't know. Either way, it still makes no sense.
We'll find out. Can't be that much
Yeah.
left.
Yeah, he makes this weird comment about like she's all like, "What are we having for dinner?" And he's all, "Nothing bigger than my head, right?" And he goes, "Not on the first date." Is that a dick joke?
Ew, no. Ew.
Right? No, this was that you're making you are expressing how I felt when I had that thought right now, Laura. Like I was just all like, the fuck was that? That is the worst. Ugh.
Ew.
Yeah, it's just skeezy.
I sometimes I want to like Gideon, but then he just makes me
Fucking
not.
Lumberg.
Exactly. So we get to Earth.
Yeah.
A shuttle approaches, which they're not supposed to do that.
Mm-mm.
And so it ejects a life pod and explodes.
Yeah.
Gideon quickly shortcuts for us, the audience, and says, well, it must be decently safe because the senator is still on board and he's not going to
Yeah,
risk
never
his
known a
ass,
politician
right?
who would
So
voluntarily put himself in danger.
seems legit.
Yeah, it does.
That checks out.
Solid logic. And they bring this pod on board, and out walks Dr. Franklin.
Out walks Mirror Universe Franklin.
I was gonna make that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, rocking a goatee.
Yeah.
Clearly from the Mirror Universe.
And just immediately in this scene, I just got a greater appreciation for it's Richard Biggs, right?
Yeah.
Is his actor's name? Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
always want to call him Steven Biggs. But he's actually a really good actor. And I feel like during Babylon 5, he was kind of overshadowed by Mira Furlan and Andreas Katsoulis, who are just dominate every scene that they're in. And they're just amazing. You don't realize that he's actually a really good actor.
Yeah.
He just stands out in this entire episode against the rest of the cast. It's just so fucking bland. Even Daniel Day Kim,
Yeah.
this was before his days on, was it Lost? Yeah. This is before he really made it big. It just feels like he's phoning it in. And, the rest of the cast, they're not bad. It's just that when I watch this, you can it just feels like I'm watching actors delivering lines. Whereas,
Yeah.
Franklin shows up, he feels like a real person. He feels like a real character. He brings passion to his scene. So he just, that's what I really liked about this episode is just showcase just how good he is as an actor.
He has had 50 times as much time to inhabit that character as anyone else on the show.
That's true.
Has had
That's
time
very
to
true.
Inhabit theirs.
You can feel it.
More than probably, it's an absurd amount of time he's gotten to spend as that character. So there's a lot of that helps him, I think, really overshadow the rest of the cast.
I really don't think that the Crusade actors were given great material to
That is
work
very
with.
true.
Agreed.
It's just really hard when you don't have a good, solid foundation
Yeah.
to really pull that
Daniel
together.
Day Kim is like a dollar store Uhura through the entire series.
Yeah.
It's like that's his whole job is to just touch his ear and relay messages. It's like, what? This is the most advanced ship ever built. You don't have a PA system.
Uh-huh. He's like Uhura if you crossed her with a little bit of Deanna Troi because he can read thoughts, but he's not supposed to read thoughts, but he gets people's feelings. So he's like two potted plants in one.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Dr. Franklin is here to infect David with the Drock plague so that they can track it.
It's all right. I'm a doctor.
David sends a message home, letting his bride-to-be know that he'll be home soon, as the Drock intercept this message and dispatch the fleet.
And as Laura likes to say, the Drock here is doing a lot of mouth talking, and it's like we know that we know. I love that one. You say that? You guys are doing a lot of mouth talking. Sorry, I love whenever you say that. Anyway, but yeah, we know that the Drock are telepathic and have like a weird hive mind going on. So he tells them in plain English.
Mouth
I feel like if you removed the dialogue and they just gave some nods to each other or just some knowing looks, that would convey the same thing. Like the audience would get it, and it would be much more effective.
Yeah, and you could cut to some ships leaving or something.
Yeah.
There's no reason for
that.
him to speak in English. It's just
Show, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are going to tell, have their mouths not fucking move and just do the telepath thing that they should have done for half of fucking season 5.
Exactly.
Why are you using your mouths? Anyways, Gideon busts in on David as he's finishing his call and forces him to explain why he would volunteer. And he explains that it's love. In fact, it's more than love.
I thought
It's
this was
marriage.
marriage.
Marriage is what brings us together today.
I thought this was actually a really good story plot point of him, wanting to voluntarily get infected to go back to Earth. Like his reasoning is pretty sound. Like it makes for a good character story. I do
Yeah.
think it's kind of weird that they're making it such a big deal for people wanting to go to Earth. I mean, I would think, the leaving Earth is the part that's a problem. If someone wants to go, it's like,
yeah.
okay, your fucking funeral, you can go to Earth. I don't care. So you can't come back.
I mean, as we learn very early on in Battlestar Galactica, there is a set number of human beings you need alive to be able to
Right.
perpetuate the species. So there might be some concerns there. I don't know how many
Yeah,
people
yeah.
live on Mars. You know,
Yeah, well, we
Right.
know humans are all over the damn place in the Babylon 5 universe. so-
cockroaches
Yeah.
fucking everywhere.
Yeah, no, I could see this. There's all kinds of scenarios where you might have people who are like desperate to get back,
Yeah.
not just fiancés and marriage, but, children, parents, my dog,
Oh, man, yeah.
something.
I just don't want to live when
Uh.
all of humanity dies. Like
Mhm.
there's a bunch of very real emotions people would have.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I get it, but it's also just like, you're right. It's your funeral. Like, are you going to be that society? And if you are going to be that society that isn't letting people go back to Earth, what else are you doing? Because that can't be where that line stops. You're probably doing things like banning abortion at
Oh,
that
God.
point. There's other shit going
Yeah.
on. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
not like the
Yeah, have-
draconian way that we've decided to do it in this country, but there'd probably be a lot of people looking for adopt. There's all kinds of shit.
Have you guys
Oh.
seen Battlestar Galactica yet?
I have not seen it at
Oh.
all.
Let's not get into it, but yes, it's
Okay.
a very
I
similar.
was going to say
thing.
that is a subject that gets touched on in the
Yeah.
episode. But anyway, you guys will get to that. Sorry, don't mean to.
Mm.
I've already spoiled one thing today. So I'll keep my
That'll,
mouth shut.
that'll be fun for later, she said dubiously.
It's a really good show, though.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mirror Universe Franklin goes to work with Dr. Chambers in Medbay. So he insists that he wants to be the one that pushes the button to open the vents and infect David with the virus because he doesn't want that guilt on Dr. Chambers, and she doesn't care.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's science. We're doing science.
I've almost killed our archaeologist like 6 times for being a stupid pain in the ass. You think I don't give look, we are not all as morally bound as you over here. I got a fucking planet to save.
Did they ever confirm whether or not the doctor's her sister was the same character that we saw in Call to Arms? Or because she's the same
They've
actor.
referred to the sister.
Yeah.
Because I've been meaning to try and pay attention and watch the show and find out if that is what that is, because it's the same. She's the same actor who was one of the crew on Call to Arms, so she wasn't actually on Earth when the plague hit. I don't know. Anyway,
Oh.
yeah, she was on the Excalibur. I don't know. Listeners in the Discord, let me know if I'm right, so I don't have to sit through this entire show.
So Franklin tells us some really interesting
He
things
retcons the
about
fuck out of the
virus,
virus.
though.
So interesting, though.
It was really good, but
Yeah.
it bugged me that it makes no sense. They said he says it took several weeks for them to understand the Drock plague, but in Call to Arms they figured it out the same day. They knew that it was going to be
Yeah.
a 5-year cycle. Anyway, I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Laura.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know about those details, but the thing he says is that the same day as the virus was released, that 850 people died of Ebola virus, and like a modified Ebola
Right.
virus.
mhm.
And Ebola virus is one of those that is not spread through the coffee, sneezy. It's like you have to touch infected fluids of another person, and these people were all over the world.
Yeah.
And then more later died of hepatitis C,
Mhm.
which I don't actually know how that one's transmitted, but I think it's a fluidsy virus again, not a
Yeah.
coffee, sneezy. So they're not sure if they're dealing with one virus or many viruses that are working overtime for 5 years to
Man.
try to wipe everything
Many
out.
viruses is such the play. Like I'm not gonna like give out, like a playbook for genocide here, but
Oh
but
boy.
if you got an option of doing one virus that mutates a bunch or many viruses all at once, I know
Yeah.
which I would pick in terms of efficiency.
No, I played that game. What was it? It was a really popular mobile game for a while where you have to.
Virus Inc., I believe.
Was that what it was?
Something like
where you
that.
had the
yeah.
map of the Earth and the red dots
Yeah.
where you're. And Madagascar was always the hard one to get.
Yeah, I played it early on in the pandemic because nihilism.
I was gonna say because dark.
You sick fuck,
Oh,
literally.
man.
I recently had my 39th birthday,
Yay.
and I've been describing it publicly as the most depressing birthday
Nah,
because
it'll
there's
get worse.
still
Don't
hope.
worry.
Well, there's still hope that I'll die before I'm 40 right now, Vic.
Hey, fuck you.
I might
man.
not make it to 40 and have to deal with that shit. Like I have a year of holding on to that little bit of hope. So
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
but, dude, life really does begin at 40, man. It's what you make of it. Like,
I'm not actually. It's just the dark sense of humor.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's fun. But listen, dude, my mother is 71. Man, she has for the past few years. She got remarried, and she has been her husband, my stepdad, is a mechanic, and he drag races for fun, and they've been touring the country, going to all his race meets, and she takes her little dogs, her 3 little rescue dogs, with her, and she always
Aw.
sends me photos from when they're on the road from their trailer with the dogs set up at the racetrack. So, and yeah, man, she's 70 and living her best life. So don't worry, man. The best years are yet to come.
Yeah.
Love you, Mom. I know you don't listen to the show, but hey, you're awesome.
If I had a means of sending her this episode, I would.
She wouldn't know how to play it.
Yeah, that's
Wouldn't know what to do with it. Yeah.
Every time I go visit, I have
That's
to
all
fix
right.
their Netflix for them.
Mhm.
So yeah, Lockley is wandering around. She runs into Gideon. She's helping hold up the walls. Very kind.
Mhm.
And then we cut back to MedLab, and I actually have a moment for you guys to scrub to if you have the episode open.
Yeah, what's the timestamp?
28:32.
You talking about the
Oh, I
funnels?
don't know
What's
that
what's
this
going
is
on
gonna
here?
get-
Oh yeah, I'm talking about them tiki drinks.
Those are some massive funnels. They kind of look like, they remind me of those cheap ass like ice cream snacks. They weren't really ice
Yeah.
cream, were they?
Yeah, the snow cones.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look like giant snow cones. I want
God,
to know
man.
what these are doing in MedLab. I'm gonna post it in the Discord right now.
Yeah, that's those are massive.
They are huge.
Mhm.
I want to know what these drinks are for.
They look like,
There's no way they're not beverages.
man, I can just taste the high fructose corn syrup in those things right now.
It's the MRI contrast. It's the stuff that you drink before your colonoscopy. Like
You can't have red or actually no, I think all 3 of those are colors you couldn't have before colonoscopy.
oh really?
Anything so the red and the purple, because the purple has red in it, could show up as blood.
Mm.
So not good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
And there's something about blue too. I don't remember what the rule with blue was. But look at
yeah,
these fucking
we
party
got
drinks.
light blue. Yeah, we got light blue. We got kind of like a red orangish one, and we got a dark blue. And then
Are
we got
these-
a green fishbowl right behind it.
That's just his tea. He's
That's
just
just
drinking
tea.
matcha,
No, now we know that Dr. Chambers parties.
right?
Oh
Like,
man.
hey, sorry, I just gave you a virus.
Oh, wait,
that's
is
gonna kill
that-
you in a couple of years? Let's get loaded.
See, I can't tell. Is that inside the chamber with Franklin, or is it outside?
That
hard-
is
it's hard-
inside the chamber with
Is it?
Franklin.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I'd be pissed. Be like, oh, Franklin, you infected our snow cone machine. Damn it.
She put those in there because she's a bro.
All right, hey man, if you're gonna die, have a snow cone.
Yeah, just in case.
At
the
least have a
South
snow.
have a little drinky drink.
So Franklin explains the process to David.
Mhm.
They're going to track the virus the whole time.
Yeah.
oops, Franklin's console won't open the vent. So Sarah's got to do it.
Mhm.
And she's like, oh,
Yeah,
fine.
whatever. I'm just pushing a button.
So let me get in there.
Yeah.
She just not give a
She
fuck.
wants a hand on that ball.
Then we get the most topical zip file reference in history.
Oh my God, yes.
Don't they store data on fucking crystals? You're telling me there's a fucking zip file on a crystal? I refuse to accept that.
But how are you going to get more files on your crystal,
Yep.
Xhafer, if you don't zip them? God.
I refuse to accept that this far into the future we're still using fucking 3-letter file extensions. We've already mostly gotten rid of that.
So Franklin activates the holoscanner.
Yeah.
Sarah says the virus is bypassing non-critical areas of the body.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so the spleen is safe,
Mm-hmm.
the appendix, gallbladder, probably,
Yeah.
right?
It's just hanging out in places.
This also kind of doesn't make sense because if it's that smart, it's not going to take you 5 years to figure out how to kill someone, dude. If
Well, it already
knows-
killed a bunch of people.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So I found a whole Usenet thread about this.
Oh boy, do tell, Xhafer.
And
Everybody get your tea.
The general suspicion of the fan community who was trying to justify the show's continued existence at the time was mostly that it's not that the virus needs 5 years to mutate to kill everyone. It's that the virus needs time to collect enough information about everyone's biomes and like gene pools and all of the different creatures on the planet to report back worthwhile information for making other biological advancements and things. Because remember, this is a species, the Shadows, that has organic ships.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
it's not that they are taking so long to kill everyone. It's that they want to make sure that they have a complete genetic record to take anything that they could possibly need. You know, so surprise, my lawn guy has a gene code that makes their lasers better or something. You know,
So, okay, so that I like this theory. So it's like the plague isn't actually its purpose built not to kill everyone. It's to collect information, and the killing is just a side effect.
I mean,
sort of
once
thing.
once they got
Once
what
it's
they
done,
need,
yeah.
they're done.
So
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
The Drakh are using it to wipe out. They want to use it to wipe out
Yeah.
Earth, but the Shadows originally engineered it for a different purpose. And
Yeah.
death is just whatever. Shadows don't care. They're always like, yeah, a bunch of people, the entire planet dies in the process, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
So that's why. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that
Yeah.
theory. That's pretty good. Okay.
So they just let it go in an atmosphere, and then it's got a timer, and it'll shut everything
Mhm.
down when they have got all they
Yeah.
need. Yeah. Okay. All right.
And that could be 5 years.
Yep.
It could be in 10 minutes. Because we already know this thing can form a super deadly form of Ebola.
Yeah.
Like, it could already... We know that it's intelligent. We know that we get the
Mhm.
whole hive mind theory this episode, right? It is its own central
Mm-hmm.
processor. They talk about it at the end of the episode. So when they get what they need, they can just flip the switch and have everyone bleed out of their eyes until they're fucking dead.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
Yeah,
Man. I wish
that's
they would have
real
leaned
dark.
into this a little more because that makes the Drakh much more interesting as a villain.
Because
Because
they're dumb.
yeah, it's like the Shadows are this big, omnipotent, cosmic horror
Yes.
type threat, where the Drakh are a little more understandable. So it's a different kind of sci-fi villain. So
Yeah.
it makes them separate from what we've seen previously. It's like, man, the potential for a great show was here.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyways, the 6 Drakh ships jump in and start blasting.
Now, I have a note about the battle scenes. Now, we get a lot of. They do this a lot. They did this in Call to Arms. It's another one of those things that I think the producers of the show were trying to figure out what the next big thing was going to be, and they just got it wrong. They do this
Mhm.
thing where they play the music, they cut the audio, and they just zoom in close on the faces of like Gideon and all the ship's crew giving orders saying fire, but it's muted, you can't see. And they have the the close up of their faces, the actors' faces, and the computer screen reflecting off of their face. Now I saw, I forgot what it was, but it was like a behind the scenes. Maybe it was a YouTube channel was talking about movie effects and tropes. I don't know. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get to is that that's not a real thing. Is that when you see that in a movie of people and they have the computer screen reflected on their face, they're actually the actor is standing in front of a projector and it's putting blinding light on their face. Like that never happens in real life when you're on a computer. It doesn't show up on your face. So.
Right. Or no one could get any banking information done at the teller line because it would be
your
their
password
account
would be
all
across
over the
your
teller's
forehead. You know?
Yeah. Before we get too far in the battle stuff, because we kind of cut around in places. So at timestamp 3240.
Okay.
You know, as we're cutting around and like sending the senator to the life pods and he runs real weird, we see this in Med Bay again. On one of these screens, get a load of that coronavirus, guys.
Oh, the close-up image.
Yeah.
Oh, that is...
I did clock that, yeah.
Oh, God, that is so scary. That's creepy accurate how... Yeah, just it's blue, but if you just turn it red, it would look exactly like coronavirus.
Crusade predicts the future, y'all.
I don't like it.
Yeah. So, but as they're fighting, Medbay accidentally engages the sterilization procedures.
Yes.
On David's side of the lab, yes.
Which is also weird. I don't understand why they didn't just put Franklin and David in the same room together. But whatever.
Well, for the plot, for the drama here, with him having to pump the handbrakes to fucking open the doors to save him. What doesn't make sense to me here is you've got this fail-safe to stop this super infectious disease or whatever super infectious disease you're dealing with from getting out, right?
Mm-hmm, sure.
Why do you put a timer on it?
Oh, right.
Like the virus is going to politely wait 4 minutes and 5 seconds before it starts infecting people.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone, it's like the 5-minute rule, like the 15-second rule when something touches the floor.
Like, yeah, it's not a thing.
It's not a real thing.
Yeah.
Your food was fine when it touched the floor, unless the floor was gross.
I made a comic about this a while back. I should repost it. It was whenever a spaceship goes into emergency mode. It's like emergency, activating strobing blinding lights, venting random fog. You know.
Yes.
Gotta let the people know.
Mm-hmm.
Lockley shows up. She's ready to have another Star Fury.
Yeah.
She
like,
changes
"Let
into her
me at him."
uniform really quick because she was in PJs like the scene right before, and then immediately she does a Superman phone booth move. She's in her flight
And she
suit.
got a nice crispy new uniform.
Yeah.
I 1,000% believe that as the commander of Babylon 5, you get very good at getting woken up and throwing your uniform on in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Fair.
I have no doubt in my mind that she can get changed faster than fucking Superman.
Also, what is the emblem on her helmet? Like, I don't know if it's just the HD upscaling that makes it look weird, but it looks like it looks like a dove shitting out a flower.
Oh, I didn't even
It's
look.
very strange.
Do you have a timestamp?
Hang on, let me get the timestamp.
We're picking this one
Yeah.
apart, guys.
Yeah.
Hope you've enjoyed your hour of Crusade bashing.
It's 3440
Oh,
ish.
yeah. No, it's like a weird. Okay. I'll just fucking screen cap this
Yep,
too.
yeah, throw it in the Discord. Yeah, or is it a seagull maybe? Yeah.
Is it a phoenix?
I think it's supposed to be a phoenix, but it
rising
looks
from
like
flames.
a seagull choking on something and shitting out Cthulhu, or I don't know what it is. It's very strange. It's like
believe
it's like
Lockley
a
would-
seagull having diarrhea.
Okay. Just have to tell the Discord that this is all for Wednesday.
Just put a pin in
Yeah,
that. Just like
Just save it for later. Discord.
If I ever become a space fighter pilot, my call sign's going to be Seagull. Everyone hates seagulls.
So yeah, the attack goes. Medbay is compromised. The timer starts going off. As the attack continues, the senator leaves. We talked about that. Sterilization countdown begins as a big rumbly knocks David unconscious before he can do the thing to get out.
Ope. Yeah. Lockley takes over the Star Furies.
Yeah. Franklin crawls through Med Lab
Yeah, it is the Indiana Jones move.
with pumping the bunk tires to open the doors. And it's at this point Gideon decides it might be a good day to die.
Prepare for rubbing speed!
In order to force the mothership to retreat, because the motherships have better jump engines that recharge faster, Gideon decides to charge the mothership and get it to open up a hole into hyperspace that they can also fly through and just kind of ride the coattails, leaving behind everyone else who can't jump out.
Yeah. Risky.
Fucking smart. This is really good, like, tactical thinking. This is some Sheridan level shit here.
Yeah. No, I'm saying risky for the people being left behind because I don't understand why he couldn't just call Lockley and tell her, get everybody, and we're going.
The comms were
Like-
down. That's
Yeah,
why
I
she
thi-
had to
well,
go
I
out in the
thought they were
first
being
place.
jammed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that the comms were down. I was like, what are you
Mm.
doing? Just tell her. Okay, I guess if comms. And I guess you could be being overheard,
Yeah.
too. That could be a thing. And you could speak it in code or something. But
hmm Lockley sees what's going on, though, and gets everyone to form up so that they can make the jump with them.
yeah, of course she does, because she's
Mhm.
great.
Exactly. Once they get into hyperspace, they fire their super laser to destroy that mothership in hyperspace, protected by the
Yeah.
other ship's inability to jump while they recharge their systems.
Just float
Yep.
in hyperspace for a minute.
Franklin does a
Yeah.
really cheesy Max Payne dive as the
He does.
Yeah.
It's so unnecessary. Like, so listener, if you're not going to watch this episode, and I don't blame you if you don't, Franklin like crawls back through under the door with David and then like gets up to try to leap
Mhm.
away from the ensuing fireball that's as the door's coming down. And why did
it's
he
so
get up to
unnecessary.
leap?
Yeah, the dive. It reminds me of old school Star Trek TOS when Kirk would do an unnecessary roll just for no reason.
Mhm.
The best part about this, in my opinion, is that he leaves David like resting up against the door in the background that where the fire's happening.
Yeah. He's like he like just leaves David and is like, well, I'm just going to try to leap myself farther out of the way. Like,
Getting out of here.
come on. Franklin's like dragging his ass, right? That's what he would,
Yeah.
the Franklin character I know
Mhm.
would do.
Mhm.
But it's like Stephen First was like, no, this doesn't look cool enough.
Yeah.
We got to make it look cooler.
We've seen Franklin go through a whole lot this episode, emotionally and physically. Do you think he's going to require another walkabout?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's trapped on
He
Earth.
can
He's
go
gonna
do
have
a
to.
real
He's
walkabout.
gonna have to do the whole planet this time.
hmm Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but he needs to wrap it up quickly because he's been invited to David's wedding.
Yeah.
I thought that was cute. That was nice.
Nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I hope there's an open bar, especially after this week.
Yeah.
And then, we get a little bit waxing poetic here. Life goes on, even when it doesn't. And
Mhm.
Dr. Chambers just turns into the camera and stares at us in global warming. Lockley just misses Franklin,
Oh yeah,
which was a bummer.
yeah.
The characters
Oh.
did not get to
They didn't. They never shared a
reunite.
screen. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Gideon didn't even tell her what was going
Right.
on.
Yeah. So she like looks at the pod for a second like she kind of knows but doesn't know because he's in there in that
Mhm.
pod sealed up when she comes in there. That would be her only chance to see him. And
Mhm.
he's already all locked
Mhm.
up.
Aw, that's sad.
Yeah. The doctors Skype and compare notes. Lockley gets dropped off at B5 and they'll be stopping by after they have more time to build sets.
Now, was this I think, did you guys already cover the episode with the uniform change? Where they
Yes.
hired the tailor?
Yes.
So yeah, so this doesn't make sense because the originals weren't the...
So we've done all of the uniform change episodes now, and now we're going back to before the uniform change.
Well, this makes no sense at all.
Take it up with JMS. He's the one who
Oh,
put
God,
together
yeah.
this order. Has Ben
Yeah.
posted our Discord complaining about it at this moment.
Yes, like live tweeting your thoughts.
Right? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Take it up with him.
All right.
That's this
I
is-
will. Yeah, I'm gonna
who
have
wrote
to make
this,
an
I
account for Twitter,
I
or
think-
X, or Twix. Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah. In their Skype call, the doctors reminded us that the nanovirus they found back on that one planet, that yes, we have seen that part, was being controlled by like a central computer.
Yes.
Mhm.
And this virus, there's no central computer. So what if it's a Borgs?
It's a Borgs.
They're just all hive-minded.
Yeah.
So scary.
You know, and I keep doing this. I keep landing on episodes to guest host on that don't have any of my favorite characters. I keep doing this because there's no Darina and there's no Techno Mage. Damn it,
Galen.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Galen
Galen
too.
would have been good here. Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know why he was absent. Was there a story reason why the two of them aren't there? Or
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe they went off on a mission together or something that we missed. We know Darina really wants to be a technomage too.
what if Galen could have just shown up inside Franklin's quarantine box and be like, Dr. Franklin, I have some information for you. I like Galen, man. He's just so over the top. He's
Yeah.
almost like,
He would have been really handy.
The
like,
virus,
analyzing
Dr.
the
Franklin.
virus too, I think.
the virus is going to infect you. The wedding is not what it
You have a
seems.
good- a good Galen going. Been working on
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna. There was a game I played back when I used to post this on my site, where back when the final seasons of Game of Thrones, I would throw up some quotes, and you would have to guess whether or not if the quote was either from Garrick or from Varys from Game of Thrones. Yeah, that was
Oh,
fun. I should do that again. But I
yeah.
could also throw Galen in there too. He likes to speak in riddles, the same, very
Mhm.
very
Yeah.
Garrickish.
That sounds fun.
Stay
Bring
tuned.
that back.
All right. Well, that's
right.
the episode.
That's the episode.
We did it. We got through. But before we talk about what's coming up next, Vic, I gotta ask, as our guest, on a scale of 1 to 4,
It gets
main
half a
guns
1.
firing.
Well, no, it gets a
Half
full
a one?
gun. It gets
Gets a
one
full
gun
gun.
that kind of sputters and then fires off. Just because Franklin's here, and it's great to see him again, and it's great to just showcase his acting abilities and show just how good of an actor he is. You know, in
Mhm.
contrast to the rest of this cast that's just so fucking bland.
I found myself either wanting more or less. I didn't feel at any point of this episode, with any plot point that it was presenting, that I got the right amount of it. I either wanted more of what they gave us or less of what they gave us. I think this is the worst episode that we've watched so far.
Wow.
I admittedly
Worse
have
than the
re-
dragon episode, really?
I liked the dragon episode. The dragon episode was fun, at least. Like, they haven't all been great, but they've been entertaining. At least most of them have been somewhat entertaining. This is the only episode that, and I've made mention of having to do this on other things too, where it takes me forever to get through my notes watch, because I'm just like, I'll watch 5 minutes. I'm like, I guess I can do laundry right now. Like, that was me in this episode. It just took me forever to get through it. It was a slog. I don't know. Maybe it would have been better with a drink. Maybe it would have been better not having to take notes. Maybe that was this episode's downfall, was my viewing experience, admittedly. But I'm just did not particularly dig any point at this episode. So I'm
Yeah, I didn't
one gun.
have as much of a problem with it because I've turned off my like give a shit on this show.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
I got through it okay, but if we go back to your Babylon 5 scale, where you would say, if I could have fixed a major problem with this episode with like one line of dialogue,
Mhm.
it's not a good episode,
Yeah.
right? I have to say it does not make it through that scale,
Yeah.
does it? Because there's a couple of places I think that we have improved it just workshopping here, over the internet. Also, I really, really loathe the idea of a Gideon Lockley ship. Not into that.
Yeah, God. I'm sorry. I could have sworn
so-
that they had started that off, but I didn't even realize this was the first time we actually see Lockley. So.
I mean, they're obviously hinting at it, at least. And if you're confirming for me that that's something that we're going for with this
Brace
show,
yourself.
I'm not.
Brace yourself. The
Nodding.
Gideon Lockley.
What's
shit.
their shitty couple name? Is it Gidley? It's gotta be Gidley, right?
Lockleyan.
Yeah, it doesn't have the
Lockean.
same.
Lock-
Yeah, lock in. Ugh, no, it doesn't work.
No, Gidley.
Gidley.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll give it like 1.5 because I have been more generous than you, but I do not want that to happen. Like, why we got to do that to my homegirl?
Yeah, she can do better.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see if we do better next week.
I was going to say real quick on the credits, I just noticed, have you guys mentioned this before, that it says technical advisors, JPL Jet Propulsion Laboratory are the technical advisors for this show? They're like a legit company. Like how,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what the fuck are they doing?
Probably talking about how objects move in space.
How
because
did
that's
the-
something that Babylon 5's always done really well.
Yeah. I'm like, what the
Yeah,
hell
I
are they
can see
advising
that.
on? Like,
They must have been a leftover from
Yeah, that's
Babylon
gotta be
5.
it.
They must have been a technical advisor for that.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, why would you hop
Yeah.
in at Crusade?
Right.
TNT was all like, look, you guys haven't been playing too fast and loose with space physics. you need to get a real expert on site here.
Right.
Fascinating.
So yep, next week we got episode 4, The Path of Sorrows. A mysterious sphere prompts Gideon and the others to relive traumatic moments from their past.
Oh boy, we have the mystery box and now a
mystery
mystery
sphere.
sphere.
It's a magic
Sounds-
8-ball.
It sounds like a clip show episode for episodes we haven't seen of this show.
Oh my god, please no.
Oh man, I want Galen to show up and have a hovering magic 8-ball. Look into the sphere, Matthew Gideon. All signs point to no.
Ah,
Yeah.
all right.
So we'll talk about that next week. We may or may not have a guest next week. It's very up in the air. Hopefully Scott from Gray 17 will be able to join us. If you listen to that podcast, you know what's going on in his life right now. You'd understand if he's not able to make it. We, of course, understand and wish him nothing but the best, whether or not he's able to record with us next week.
For sure. We would love to hang with our bud,
Yeah.
but if he is not well, he needs to
Yeah,
be well.
needs to
wishing
heal
you
up.
the best, buddy.
So, that said, there are a couple of things left to say. Like, thank you. Thank you, Jeremy Siegel, for our absolutely lovely theme music. Appreciate the hell out of it. I saw Nuclear Jaguar just dropped a new single.
Hey.
Hell yeah. You can find more of Jeremy's work at jeremysiegel42.bandcamp.com and on streaming services as aforementioned Nuclear Jaguar.
Yeah, and thank you to Angry Duck Time Machine on Instagram for our podcast artwork. You can find more of their artwork at Instagram.
Aaron, thanks so much for editing our podcast and making sure that I don't have to do that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And Vic, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I always love being on the show with you guys. It's a blast.
Always a pleasure.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
And,
I mean, I know we're recording last time on like tomorrow or something, but, you know, always a pleasure to record.
thanks.
You can find Victor over on the other podcast on the network, Last
LTO,
Time
yeah.
On, with myself and Ben. You can find him mainly, I feel like, as Dominion Media and Television on Facebook, where he is very, very funny, very regularly.
And stay tuned. I'm going to
Mhm.
be posting more information soon on DMTV about the upcoming Patreon, the upcoming podcast. Oh, and I forgot to mention earlier as well, we're going to be doing another, probably a monthly podcast. It's too early to tell. But it's going to be Fan Theories on Trial, where we bring in guests and we talk about our favorite fan theories from our favorite franchises. Doesn't have to be sci-fi, it could be anything. And we put them on trial to see if whether or not we should officially, unofficially declare them canon. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And
Dibs
Yeah.
on Mass Effect 3 indoctrination theory.
You are in, buddy. Oh, and also as well, man, Xhafer, man, we got to do that First Contact episode.
We do have to do that First Contact soon.
Soon. Yeah, we're going to be covering Star Trek First Contact, and yeah, stay tuned for that. Yeah, it'll be on Pin Post on Dominion Media TV. So just subscribe. Just subscribe, slap that notification bell, and yeah, we'll see you soon. Thank you.
5 stars.
5 stars.
We'll see you next
and
week.
let me say thank you as well to my cat Shinzon. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to say he has been very well behaved this episode. He is always a little shit when I am recording Attention Bajoran Workers. Ever since I got this new mic stand, he just attacks it every time I'm recording. But no, you're perfectly well behaved when I'm on somebody else's podcast.
I refuse to believe these lies and slander.
Yeah.
He is a very good boy.
Seems like a perfect cat.
I have video evidence of him being an asshole.
We'll just say it's Laura and I's dulcet tones.
That's got to be it.
lulling him into better behavior. And with that, we'll see you next week, Internet.
Bye.
I can remember that. Oh,